And welcome to another exciting episode of the Super Fantastic Exchange. My name is Gary. Guys, I can't tell you how excited I am to bring to you someone that I have been following for quite some time, someone I view as such an inspirational leader across so many platforms. And he's followed by so many people in and out of the industry. But he's, this person that you're seeing on video right now is just one of those guys that really lives what he speaks, walks the talk, and just he's one of those inspirational leaders. And we'll chat about why he's in a different setting right now. But it's really exciting, guys. Y'all give up for none other than Mike Wolber.
Thank you, Gary.
Thank you. Yeah, Mike, can you hear him clapping for you?
I can.
It's pretty impressive. So, Mike, I want to give you a chance to share with us a little bit more about who you are and what you do.
Yeah, for sure. It's great to be here, Gary. My name is Mike Wolber. I am currently the Chief Revenue Officer at a multifamily-focused technology company called Rent Dynamics. I relocated my family in the middle of the pandemic, which there's no playbook for, and we built a home in northern Utah, and I'm coming up on 2 years. It's definitely flown by.
Wow.
And prior, I spent about 6 years helping G5, another industry technology company, really grow specifically in the multifamily space. And so here I am almost 8 years into the industry, really enjoying, building teams, growing, and learning a lot every single day.
Right. And you can tell that, your heart really is, you're in this space, you're in the multifamily space, and your heart is there with it. Because I just love the things that you do to support and encourage the multifamily space. It's been absolutely amazing. Of course, following you on LinkedIn, on other platforms, it's just been great to see what you have been doing for that. And I briefly mentioned, you are one of those leaders that, walks the talk. You're in a different location right now, and you shared with me that you do something a little bit, you called it doing things that are unscalable. So kind of just touch on that, what that means, and why you're in a different location today.
Yeah, for sure. So I'm in Chicago. I was here last night for a really fun event with about 12 different operators. We went to a Wrigley rooftop, so we watched the baseball game rooftop, and the rain cleared just in time for us. So I felt I'll clap for that one for sure.
Yeah.
And then I'll be here for, the next 2 days, just working some different sales calls with our Chicago sales rep. Her name's Chris. And
oh, wow.
When I say, I think doing things that are unscalable, I like to do things that are hard to repeat, but doing things that usually make a good impression, whether that's with your team or with your customer. And I think a great example of that is when you get an opportunity to hop on an airplane and quickly, pivot. This opportunity popped up last Thursday for me. That's a quick heck yes. So I just like to do that kind of stuff, especially when you're in the process of growth.
That is fantastic. And Mike, that's one of the things that I truly admire about you is you take those heck yes moments to do something a little bit different, to get out into the, work with the teams out in the field. You could be sitting in your office and encouraging them via, a Zoom call or an email or phone call, but you actually take, and I love how I'm going to quote you now, it's a heck yes moment to get out there and be with your team, to encourage your team. And I truly feel that is what, that's what an inspiring leader does. And so, and I imagine your team, when you're out there with them, they're just, it brings that encouragement, that confidence to the next level, knowing that Mike is there with them. I mean, that's inspiring, Mike. Way to go.
Yeah, thank you. I mean, I think there's like this intangible in our personal lives and our professional lives about like the feeling of being supported. And I think if you can create and provide that feeling in a way that your team receives it, I think that's super important. And I think there are salespeople I've worked with that prefer, more of the, give me some space. But we have the team members that say, no, I'd like for you to be here with me, coach me, let me practice with you, those kinds of things. You can expedite speed to perfection a lot faster.
Yeah.
At least the pursuit of perfection.
Yeah. Making progress
is important for sure.
Absolutely. And that kind of connects to that first inspirational point. So one of the things I love to do is connect with inspiring leaders and peek behind the curtains as to what inspires those inspiring leaders. And so it's a great transition into, one of the things that you had mentioned to me was building highly functioning teams. And you being out on the field, connecting with your team is I imagine part of that process. So tell me what does it mean when you're, building those highly functioning teams, and how does that inspire you?
Yeah, so I think we can all probably think back, whether it's in our early adolescence being on a sports team, or early into business being on a team where you were either part of a team or you saw a team in your organization that just killed it. And there is something, and I call it the light bulb effect. Like when you're on a highly functioning team, you attract others. You just do. And I think for me, like just a definition of that, like it's really important to get the right people on the bus. That is a huge part of my like leadership philosophy is even if you don't have the perfect job cut out for that person, if you know that person's got to be on the bus, like get them on the bus. It's one of the best things you can do when you're building. And I think from there, it's really all about making sure that you create really good role clarity for your teams, really good expectation setting so they know what to expect when it comes to doing the work.
Right.
But getting out of their way. Highly functioning teams evolve, they change, they go fast. They go so fast that you're the blocker. You're just trying to get things out of their way. And it keeps the role of a frontline or a second line leader like myself very, very evolutionary, because the role changes every day, because all you're doing is helping this team achieve things that you've never seen another team happen before, which I find incredibly motivating.
Oh, that's so amazing. And there's a couple of things that you said, Mike, that really kind of connected with me. Is one, the law of attraction. I believe is so true, because you start developing that highly functioning team, that team that is really gelling and making things happen. Other people from the outside start seeing that, and that law of attraction, other people start gravitating towards you, whether it's customers wise or whether it's, people that want to be a part of that team. I mean, that law of attraction is powerful. And I love how you talk about, getting the right people on the right seat on the bus, from the Good to Great by Jim Collins is one of my favorite books as well. And I love that. I have it over my shoulder. And I like how you mentioned you're just getting things out of their way so that, they can be in the driver's seat of their bus and just pedal to the metal and just go. And I see where that inspires you, and you're really, really gung-ho about that.
Yeah, I think it's fun because even tactically, like the Great Resignation, right? The last couple years, especially in our industry, we've talked so much about employee retention, how difficult it's been to staff our on-site teams. On the prop tech side, it's been very difficult for people to staff skilled team members in engineering, sales, marketing. And my core belief has really been the opposite of that. It's well, if you can create a destination environment, it doesn't have to be hard for all of us to recruit. We don't all have to pay recruiter fees if we can have this mentality that truly is a magnet for the best talent. That's a destination work environment. And so there's definitely a little bit of selfishness attached to this philosophy. Sure. But at the same time, I'll tell you that I don't have the Sunday scaries, and I definitely look forward to Monday morning every week with the team, and that kind of stuff for me is intangible as to why I want to be in Chicago, right?
Right, absolutely, because it is a destination environment and a work environment. That's such a neat new phrase. You got destination vacations, but what about a destination work environment? Mike, you're just creating these new phrases. I'm loving this.
None of them are copyrighted, Gary. So take them. Turn on your next book.
Mike Wolber's. You've got a new book coming out, and I believe it. So one of the other topics and inspiration points that you brought up to me was control of your career destiny. I think this is really this is such a neat conversation. We talk about the Great Resignation, but you talk about controlling your career destiny. So what does that look like to you, and how does that inspire you?
So do you mind if I start with just a quick story time?
Please.
So I started my career out at Nike. I spent about 5 years at Nike in product creation, and it was basically as cool as you can imagine, right? I got to do all the cool things and exposed to all the cool athletes. And as cool as the work was not good for me. And I think part of it was a millennial thing, being a young guy in this big organization with lots of rules and processes, and it was hard to go fast. And I don't think I realized that till latter into my 5 years there. But the day that I resigned in March of 2015. When I sat down with my manager to resign, she actually had paperwork to put me on a performance plan. Like we were that disconnected in terms of wrong employee on the wrong team.
Yeah.
And she started crying when I gave notice, and it wasn't because I was leaving, it was because she didn't have to go through this, tough conversation with me.
Yeah.
Because we'd never really just gotten it right. And it was both of our fault. I love her. We've stayed in touch. And long story long, Gary, I learned this remarkable thing in that process, which was that it's our responsibility to control where we are, what we're chasing, and if we have the resources around us to be successful. It's not always our employer's responsibility.
Right.
And my manager was doing her job. I also was doing my job, and it wasn't a fit. And neither of us took the time to acknowledge that verbally. And since then, I've just been obsessed with taking complete control over my job satisfaction, my team satisfaction, the company. Do I align with the morals and the culture?
Yeah.
And I really feel like there's just this radical empowerment I'd like to share with people, which is that if you're not feeling the feeling in your current workspace, change it. It really can be that simple. And that's why I think for me, the power of mentorship has become so important, because mentors have really helped me realize that you can supercharge your career and take control.
Oh, absolutely. And I think you hit the nail on the head there, Mike, is, a lot of us just go default. We get a job and we assume that the company's going to feed us, is going to take care of us, do all the things for us, and kind of support our career growth as whatever career path they have developed. That's kind of by default what we get. I love where you are designing your destiny, you're designing your life, and you're in an environment right now where you've created that destination workplace, and that's purposeful. That's an intentional setup that you've done, and that's what you've created. You're not waiting for somebody else to do it for you. And I so believe that is such incredible advice that all of us can take. Don't wait for other people to do things for us. Do things for other people. Do it for yourself. Mike, man, you really are. And then you talk about mentors. What a valuable, lesson to find, you call it a coach, you call it a mentor, call it an alignment, but connect with people. And that leads into your next inspirational point, which I love, networking. You talk about, building and investing in your network inspires you. So share with us what that means and how do you go about developing your network?
Yeah, I think for me, I started late in the networking game, and I didn't really think about it until probably 2018, 2019. And there wasn't really an inflection point or a reason that I started. I just thought that, hey, I'm doing so much in private. Why don't I start doing some of this stuff in public and see what kind of personal or professional, gain I could make out of truly investing in building and investing in my network. And so LinkedIn's obviously been a natural place to start. The podcast has been a natural place to start. I've started some private communities that I leverage for one-to-one mentoring and things like that. And I think for me, there's this philosophy I've always had that if you design yourself out of your job, your next job will be waiting for you.
Wow.
And I think one of the things that, I learned that through mentorship. It wasn't something I made up. And the reason I share that, Gary, is that I think with our networks, for example, I look at LinkedIn as an example. Lots of the folks that we're interacting with on LinkedIn are technically competitors of ours. I look at all the other real estate operations firms that are posting on LinkedIn just like you are.
Yeah.
And there's this natural thought well, I don't want to share what's working at Steadfast. It could negatively impact someone else. Same thing with Rent Dynamics. Hey, this sales tactic's really working for us. And I think my thought has really become that if you give to your network, your network's going to want to give back to you. And that's going to come in the form of career opportunities. I'm helping my younger brother move from Alaska to North Carolina right now, and I promise that through the power of LinkedIn, I will help place him in a radically amazing opportunity in North Carolina, right? And so for me, it's just this limitless intersection of awesome that happens with the network. and it gives us an opportunity to feel a sense of belonging in a way that I think is intangibly hard to describe until you've experienced it. And I know you've experienced it as well. Like the power of network and community, especially at scale, is pretty darn incredible.
Absolutely. And Mike, you're just full of these quotes. Limitless network of awesome. That is networking. That is so true. And I truly believe that, if you're giving, of course, don't give away trade secrets or anything of that nature, but if you're giving these, encouragements or the support conversations, hey, here's some things that work that are helpful, it helps, and then you start learning from other people. I could list so many people that I've learned from, and I've taken what they've shared and we've applied it in different capacities across many different levels, and Mike, I'll admit, I've stolen some of the things you've shared and I don't know if stolen's the right word, but I've absorbed, adopted. And it really is. And what that does is it creates a law of attraction. It's something that, you talked about. People are saying, okay, Mike's got this great thing about him and he's sharing, he's got great wisdom, and I want to network with him, and then I want to connect with him. He's got great stuff and I'm going to adopt it. Oh, hey, Mike works with Rent Dynamics and they've got a pretty awesome product. It's that law of attraction. And I think anybody can do it as well. Even simply, if you're networking on LinkedIn and you're sharing thoughts and ideas and suggestions, people like, I need that person on my team, and it's such a limitless network of awesome.
Yeah, it is. And I think one of the cool things I've learned about networking these last few years that I've really, really gone all in on it is that when you shoot your shot and ask somebody for their time, especially in the realm of networking, 9 times out of 10, the answer is yes. And you can supercharge, your own career or your own pursuit of the next skill set you want to go glean when you leverage someone else who's already been there. And I think that's where the superpower for me has really come into play, where it's like first time CRO for me the last couple of years of Rent Dynamics. And I wanted to kill it. And I knew that I needed to pretend that I could go as fast as possible. And so, what I did is I found 5 CROs who are 4 or 5 times CROs who are 20 years ahead of me. And I said, what are the things you do? Again, what are the things you would avoid? And I wrote a playbook, a literal playbook. And I don't think I'm perfect, and I think I'm always going to be in the pursuit of perfection. But I think I've been able to go a lot faster than I would have had I not, invested in the power of a network. And I think those kinds of tactical examples are what we really need to remember, is that it really is an opportunity for you to give, but also to take when it makes sense.
Absolutely. And I think that's you hit the nail on the head with the tactical approach to it, because you're reaching out, asking questions, connecting with people that you want to emulate at some point in time. And so that progress, and you mentioned earlier, having the mentors, a coach, and alignment really does help you along the way. And then once you're making progress, you help other people move up as well.
The snowball takes off. Exactly.
Oh my gosh, Mike, this has been absolutely brilliant. And I tell you, to be honest with you, very transparent with you and everybody else watching this. The reason I started the SUPERFANTASTIC Exchange was a reason to connect with incredible leaders like yourself, so that I could ask questions that intrigue me and learn from that. And now I get to share it with other people. So it's kind of a selfish, I get to learn and I get to share. So
I love it.
I believe that's what all podcasts, all interviews should be, is it's kind of like, what intrigues you? What do you want to learn? And now you get a chance to share that with other people. And here we are. Mike, I can't thank you enough, Mike. We're at the end of our time. It's hard to believe it's gone so fast. I want to give you a chance to share a closing thought before we wrap up.
Yeah, I think I'll end on our last thread, Gary. I think the encouragement I'll make to anyone, tuning in, listening, watching is, if you're not already investing in your network, I'll just challenge you to spend the next 60 days doing it. And in 60 days, if you don't feel a dividend personally or professionally, fine, pivot to the next thing. But whether it's, posting 3 times a week on LinkedIn, or listening to a podcast and then reaching out to that host to give them a compliment or asking a question, There's so many tactical examples. And if you want a couple tips, my DMs are wide open in LinkedIn. I'd love to share. But this has been a privilege of the day, Gary, and I'm really happy to have been here today.
Oh my gosh, I can't thank you enough. Guys, Mike Wolber has just laid down a 60-day challenge. I encourage you to take that challenge, get out there, start connecting with people, start sharing as well. You never know where it's going to take you. That's where you start controlling your destiny, as Mike mentioned earlier. And then you start creating a law of attraction. People start gravitating towards you because you start leveling up. Guys, make sure you are following Mike Wolber on LinkedIn. Check out his podcast. Rent Dynamics is such an incredible company and amazing products. So please make sure Mike Wolber on LinkedIn. Start there. Start following him. Add him to your network. I promise you, money back guarantee. You will get something from it. Guys, thank you again for joining us on another episode of the Super Fantastic Exchange. Mike, thank you so much, and we will see you on the next time. We'll see you guys later.
All right. Thanks, Gary.
Thank you.